watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. Let me cut across to the big news that's coming in. As sources tell us, the Modi government in the special session of the parliament is likely to bring one nation, one election bill. This bill is likely to be tabled in the parliament during the special session in the next 5 days. One nation, one election bill that the Modi government is likely to present in the parliament in the special session of the parliament. This is big news. In fact, this is the scoop coming in as sources tell us that the Modi government is likely to push the one nation, one election bill in the special session of the parliament. Let me quickly cut across to our reporters. We have Rajdeep Sardesai, we have Preeti Choudhry joining us for more insights on that one nation, one election. Preeti, if I could ask you, what really does this signify? This is likely to be tabled by the Modi government in the upcoming special session. Break it down for us.
Well, right now, Nabila, what we are given to understand, it's source-based information that a special session which is being called right now from the 18th of September to the 22nd of September. It's a special session. Otherwise, the next session would have had to be the winter session. Now, there were indications that certain key bills will be brought out at this point of time. What's interesting is that just about a week ago, Nabila, to break it down, you had a Mamata Banerjee, you had a Nitish Kumar in June, you had a Mamata Banerjee, you've had the Congress echo the same, where the opposition parties have repeatedly said that along with the 5 states that go into elections in the winter this year, that the government could actually look at holding general elections with the 5 states. And for that, of course, an amendment need to be made. Therefore, a bill would have had to be introduced in Parliament. Now, it will feed into the fears of the opposition here, because you've had the likes of, to give you an example, Mamata Banerjee said in her rally...
Hold on to your thought. Mausami is also joining us. She has a guest with her. Mausami, one nation, one election. If this bill is passed, it's going to be huge for the country. We believe the Modi government is mulling over passing this in the upcoming special session of the parliament in the month of September. Tell us a little more. Bring us reactions.
That's right, Nabila. As our sources, in fact, Himanshu just confirmed through our sources that the government could get that one nation, one election bill in the special session of the parliament. Let's take that reaction straight to Congress leader Sachin Sawant, who's right here with us in Mumbai. Sachin, how do you respond? Because this is not the first time we're hearing about one nation, one election. It's been one of the most pet and ambitious dreams of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to conduct the elections across the country simultaneously.
So the thing is, we do not know what exactly is there in his mind. They have been having such discussion, but the only thing we are sure that he is scared. And he knows that this India alliance is going to be a very formidable one. And there is a great possibility, and of course we are sure that we are going to dethrone him. And that is we are really convinced about.
Nitish Kumar, Mamata Banerjee already, expressing this view that the Prime Minister and the BJP could conduct the elections in December. What is the reason behind, you think, getting this bill in the special session? Is just the fear or the confidence of the Modi government?
I really would not like to speak on this unless we get some concrete information. But definitely, we feel that this India alliance, this is a third meeting. This is going to be the third meeting. And day by day, the alliance is getting strengthened. And people are also supporting us. We are getting larger support. And that is what is scaring him.
Thank you very much. Sachin right there, the Congress leader saying that in fact it's the India alliance because of which the government is mulling over getting this bill in the special session, Nabila. Clearly, politics playing out to the fullest, right? In the beginning, in the start of this entire India meet in Mumbai, you get to hear that the government could get one nation, one election bill in the parliament in the special session. So politics and power play. way.
Absolutely, and the reasons are, if I may try to decode what the intentions of the BJP are here, is to save time and, more importantly, money. I'm going to cut across to Sahil Joshi, who is with Rajdeep Sardesai, joining me live from Mumbai, where the India Bloc Alliance meeting is currently underway. Sahil and Rajdeep, this is a big, big move. If it's true, parliamentary sources tell us that the Modi government is now mulling over one nation, one election in a bid to save time and money. Break it down for us. What does this really mean for the upcoming 5 state elections now?
Well, this is really interesting because already in the India bloc, a lot of people, opposition parties are already predicting that there is a possibility that the Prime Minister may call early elections. The BJP is not yet confirming about that. The government has already announced that there is going to be a special session from 18th to 22nd September. We did ask this question to Rahul Gandhi as well. The Rahul Gandhi says that the government is scared, and maybe because of that, this session has been called, and likely that there is a possibility that early elections may call. So Rajdeep is also with me. Rajdeep, the government sources are telling that they are again pushing this agenda of one nation, one election. How do you look at that? Now, the early session, you have been speaking to various alliance partners. You spoke to Mamata Banerjee. I spoke to Shiv Sena. Everybody thinks that there is a possibility that the government may move fast and go for the early elections.
Sahil, I have always believed, and I even did a video blog on this yesterday, Narendra Modi ji does not want to lose even one day in power. So as far as Mr. Modi ji is concerned, he is moving to a timetable where elections will be held on schedule March, April is what I am told. In fact, PMO officials who I have spoken to are also saying the same thing. If you recall, Prahlad Joshi in his tweet is saying, Amrit Kal ko discuss karna hai. What are you going to discuss about Amrit Kal? This was the official tweet. Now sources are saying it is about one nation, one election. For one nation, one election, are you going to call a 5-day session in the midst of festive season when Ganesh Chaturthi is starting on the 19th, just 1 week after G20? My sense is that something does not add up. I am not sure what that is. Is it a diversion, as Jairam Ramesh is indicating, because the Adani issue has been raised today, is the government trying to divert attention from it? Or is it that the government is trying to set the agenda? After G20, Mr. Modi believes his popularity will increase further. If you have a parliament debate where people congratulate Mr. Modi on both Chandrayaan and on G20, while it is fresh in public memory, it will raise Mr. Modi's image. So there are two views, Sahil, as to why this session is called. One, to bump up Mr. Modi's image, or it is a diversion from the Adani revelations that have come out today.
Well, the BJP already has the example of the Vajpayee government. You know, they also tried to ride on the Shining India wave, and it didn't materialize for them. The price rise still remains to be a major issue, as we have seen in MOTN. But how does it change equation within the India partners? Because what we heard is that the Congress is not in a hurry to finalize any kind of an agenda. Congress wants to concentrate on the state elections, which the Congress will have to fight with the BJP. The India alliance partners are not going to come to their help in those assembly elections. Whereas the alliance partners have been pushing Congress that, you know, look, there is a possibility of early elections. Let's formulate our strategy right now. Don't leave us at this point of time and concentrate only on the assembly elections. Tomorrow, Uddhav Thackeray will start the session. You know, he will talk about the sense of the house inside the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Will this be also an important agenda, that there is a possibility of early elections? Let's get prepared ourselves for that. Let's talk about the seat sharing the way Sharad Pawar was talking about a day before. How does this change equation within India?
Very good question, Sahil. My sense is, speaking to a few of the leaders of these parties like Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee believes that Mr. Modi is calling for a December election, and she therefore feels that there should be a timeline and urgency in setting the agenda for the India alliance that focus now on what are the issues that you're going to raise. On the other hand, Rahul Gandhi believes that the Adani issue is too big to be ignored. It's an issue he's been tracking. He wants to focus on it. Within the Congress, there are divergent views. So in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel and Ashok Gehlot have investments of the Adani group in their states. They are saying we have got an election in November, December. Let's focus on state-related issues. So I think one of the challenges for this India alliance is different constituents have different priorities at the moment. Rahul Gandhi's priorities, I want to focus on Adani issue because I believe Prime Minister is vulnerable. Regional allies believe that we have to defeat Mr. Modi in 2024 for our own survival. what is the plan that we can put in place and put in place urgently. And the section of the Congress believes, let us first do well in the November-December election, then we will have more leverage within this alliance. So I think different outfits, different constituents have very different priorities at the moment.
Also, if you look at historically, the elections happening simultaneously, say assembly election and the Lok Sabha elections, doesn't yield the same results most of the time. A lot of times this has been seen that people vote differently for the Lok Sabha, and at the same time, in the another box, they vote differently for the assembly. Does it work for the BJP? Because there were reports earlier that the BJP leaders from Maharashtra had requested that let's have the Maharashtra assembly and the Lok Sabha elections together, which was shot down by the central leadership. So why again there is a talk about one nation, one election? It's does it going to help any which ways, or it's a different strategy altogether?
First of all, I don't think one nation, one election is going to be accepted by many of the regional parties as well. They don't want the election to be held all the time under the shadow of the BJP. So I think this is a red herring, personally. This may be a debating point, but it's not going to be accepted. Sahil, BJP also, my sense is, knows what, they don't want to commit the mistake that Vajpayee committed in 2004 by bringing elections early. They also recognize that they need to use power. Their timetable is in January to go ahead with the Ram Mandir inauguration, then build on that. At the moment, yes, Chandrayaan and G20 have raised the Prime Minister's profile. But, you know, a week is a long time in Indian politics. Lot can change. BJP believes that they are better equipped organizationally, resource-wise, to fight the election. The only reason why there can be an early election is that the BJP doesn't want the India alliance to have any time to organize itself. But my sense is their own internal surveys are not showing at the moment the Prime Minister so vulnerable as Mamata Banerjee and others are making it out to be. I think Mr. Modi will wait. He wants a timeline. He's preparing the ground in a way to raise various issues of public concern. One nation, one election this time. I am told he wants to raise women reservation also, and wants to slowly but surely build a kind of agenda where the opposition cannot capture the narrative. Mr. Modi wants to seize the narrative all the time. Today what has happened, because of the Adani issue, the opposition has got a talking point. So Mr. Modi will very carefully...
That also only Congress and Rahul Gandhi specifically is talking about it. Nobody else spoke about Adani issue today here when we were trying to speak to the opposition.
I was told by a senior leader of the alliance that they now believe Mr. Modi will also bring petrol prices through excise duty cuts also. So you may well have petrol prices also being brought down ahead of the festive season. LPG prices down, petrol prices down. Mr. Modi is moving to his own narrative. The opposition at the moment, specifically Rahul Gandhi, is determined to make Adani the biggest.
Okay, lastly, quickly, because I have to toss it back. Now that after the meeting the people started arriving in Mumbai yesterday, since yesterday. What are the 3 points you think that now there will be a talking point within the India alliance partners? Is it Adani, is it the parliament session, or is it the early elections? What do you think will be the talking point?
One, I think some of them like Nitish Kumar and Mamata Banerjee will raise the fact that we need to have a timeline to work in the assumption that Mr. Modi could call a December election. So a timeline that we cannot wait anymore. One of the leaders said this political tourism has to stop. We need an agenda. Number 2, coordination committee meeting. A lot of the allies say a lot of things about each other once the meetings are over, especially at local level. Can we have a better coordination
committee, formation of...
Yeah, there will definitely be an attempt made to form a coordination committee. And I am told 3 or 4 or 5 key points, messaging points, that this alliance believes will make them stand out vis-a-vis the BJP. Now, these are the issues which at least the allies want to focus on. Congress wants to buy some more time. Will they be allowed by the regional allies to buy more time? I'm not so sure. I think eventually we will have a logo tomorrow unveiling, which I'm told will have a tricolor in it. And I'm told that there will be a coordination committee.
Well, very interesting that the alliance partners will now also have to think about why there is a talk about early elections. Also, why a parliament session, 5 days special parliament session, and how to strategize for the upcoming parliament session as well. Nabila.
Right. Well, Sahil, stay with us. I also have Preeti with me here. Preeti, 5 state elections, Rajasthan to be coming up, Telangana to be coming up, and a few more. As we see the excitement towards that elections has already begun. They're drumming up, their campaigns in their respective state. At this point, if a special parliamentary session passes the one nation, one election, joint session, a one nation, one election bill in the parliament, do you think it will have consent from all political parties?
Nabila, the fact is, if you need to call early elections in India, it's not that simple as well of just passing of that bill. This will warrant a constitutional amendment. For a constitutional amendment, you need two-third majority in the House. And after that, it will also be need to pass by each state. So it's not as simple as it looks like. But having said that, it is a possible trial balloon that has been floated by a lot of opposition parties. But in terms of technicality of it all, because to call for early elections, it will need a constitutional amendment.
Right.
You will need two-third majority. You need to get it passed through each state as well. So not so simple.
It is
yes,
complicated.
it's complicated.
Let's see what happens. But Himanshu Mishra is the one. Preeti, please take over.
All right, okay, so that's the
Himanshu
latest news
Mishra
break
is with
that
us.
we're getting in. Let's cut across to my colleague Himanshu, who's breaking this news on India Today. Himanshu, जो खबर आपने अभी ब्रेक की है, आपके सूत्रों के हवाले पूरी चहल पहल मच गई है. जो इंडिया की मीटिंग हो रही थी मुंबई में, उससे अब पूरा फोकस हटकर यही बात आ रही है कि क्या चुनाव पहले होंगे, क्या ये बिल इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाएगा ज्वाइंट सेशन में, क्या कह रहे हैं आपके सूत्र?
देखिए, बिल्कुल प्रीति, मेरे जो सूत्रों का कहना है कि जो संसद का स्पेशल सत्र बुलाया गया है, उसमें वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन बिल को जो है सरकार चाहेगी कि वो पास हो जाए. अब सवाल ये है कि क्या इस पे अलग अलग दलों के राज्य सरकारें साथ आएंगी, तो वो एक बड़ा सवाल है. अगर आप उस लिहाज रखेंगे तो 5 राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव जो है वो नवंबर एंड में है और दिसंबर के फर्स्ट वीक तक है. उसके बाद लोकसभा चुनाव है, उसमें उड़ीसा और साथ में जो है मध्य प्रदेश के चुनाव है. 2024 के अंत में लोकसभा के तुरंत बाद जो है वो हरियाणा, महाराष्ट्र, झारखंड के चुनाव है और फिर 2025 के शुरुआत में यानी जनवरी में जो चुनाव है वो दिल्ली के. तो ऐसे में अगर हम देखेंगे तो 14 स्टेट्स के जो चुनाव हैं वो अगले 1.5 साल में होने लोकसभा चुनाव के साथ. तो सरकार की ये जरूर कोशिश रहेगी कि जो है वो इस संसद के विशेष सत्र में जो है वो इस बिल को पास करा के ले जाए. और जिस तरीके से पिछले समय ऑफिसर एक्ट जो बिल था उसको लेकर और बीजेडी का और अविश्वास प्रस्ताव पर बीजेडी, वाईएसआर, कांग्रेस और जो है वो टीडीपी का साथ मिला, उसके बाद सरकार को ये उम्मीद है. और मैं आपको बताऊं कि प्रधानमंत्री पहले भी ये बात राज्यसभा में कह चुके हैं. चुनाव आयोग ने सभी राजनीतिक दलों की एक बैठक बुलाई थी, उसमें भी वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन को लेकर
हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए. I'm going to quickly cut across Adi Ranjan Choudhry, who's speaking on one nation one election proposal. Let's take a look. Let's listen in. Adi Ranjan Choudhry speaking. All right, Adi Ranjan Choudhry joining us on the phone line. Adi Ranjan ji, यहाँ पर one nation one election की बात चल रही है. It's likely that they're going to be passing the bill. This is what they hope, that they're going to get support from all the political parties during the special session of the parliament next month. It's likely the BJP will table one nation one election bill. Your view on that?
See, first of all, before expressing our view, we have to go through the contents of the bill. Now, if the government thinks so that everything is to be passed in the parliament, they have had their own brute majority. So they can always play the tyranny of majority. Because each and every issue, they can get the legislation passed according to their own whims and fancy. But it is not a matter of a little significance. It's a matter of great significance because India is a country which believes in plurality, which believes in diversity. So we cannot afford ourselves to be the centralization of all power in one go. We do not have the idea of what kind of contents the legislation is going to be proposed. So before scrutinizing the legislative document, I cannot make right at this moment any comment on it. But certainly, if government has any good intention, they may have a separate discussion of all the opposition parties before introducing the bill. Otherwise, it will be interpreted as their own eccentricity before introducing any legislation.
Right. Adi Ranjan. All right, we seem to have lost his connection. I'm going to quickly cut across to Priyanka Chaturvedi, who's also reacted on the one nation, one election proposal by the Modi government. It's been the Modi government, in fact, Modi himself has been saying it quite a while now, that if we have one nation, we've got to have one election. It saves time and money.
के हवाले से खबर आ रही है, वो उसके बारे में बोलने से पहले मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि अभी हाल ही में मॉनसून सेशन खत्म हुआ है, विंटर सेशन का निर्णय होना है। ऐसी आपको क्या आपदा आ गई, ऐसी आपको क्या हड़बड़ी हुई, ऐसी क्या जल्दबाजी है कि आप एक स्पेशल सेशन बुला रहे हैं? आप स्पेशल सेशन उस दिन बुला रहे हैं जब हर घर में महाराष्ट्र में भगवान श्री गणेशा विराजमान होते हैं। पूजा पाठ संस्कृति संस्कार का हमारा विषय है। महाराष्ट्र में ही क्या, देश भर में विदेश भर में होता है। तो अगर जो आप कह रहे हैं सूत्रों के हवाले से खबर आई है वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की, तो बगैर हम राय मशवरा कर बगैर सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स से पूछकर, बगैर इलेक्शन कमीशन की रिपोर्ट लेकर, बगैर उनसे ये पूछकर कि ये पॉसिबल है या नहीं पॉसिबल है, बगैर वो सिक्योरिटी सर्विसेज से पूछकर के इतना हम कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे एट द सेम टाइम, बगैर उन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से पूछकर कि क्या वो सहमत है या नहीं सहमत है, बगैर चीफ मिनिस्टर्स को साथ में लेकर अगर वो ये निर्णय लेते हैं, हम उसका विरोध करेंगे। ये स्पेशल सेशन दिखाता है कि एक बौखलाई हुई, तिल मिलाई हुई और अपने लास्ट, कहते हैं ना वो जो लास्ट ब्रेथ होता है एक डाइंग पेशेंट का, वो दिखा रहा है। एक तिल मिलाई हुई, घबराई हुई एंड लास्ट स्टेजेस ऑफ पावर में अपना पावर दिखाने की कोशिश करें, हम उसका विरोध करेंगे।
All right, even as there's a proposal now for a one nation, one election bill in the special session of the parliament, there have been reactions from political parties even in the past. The TMC and the JDU have already expressed that it will be Modi's move or BJP's move to hold Lok Sabha elections earlier than 2024. This was predicted. I'm going to cut across to those reactions in the past.
चुनाव तो कभी भी हो सकता है, ये कोई जरूरी है कि समय पर करावे। ये तो केंद्र वाले पहले भी करा सकते हैं।
कुछ संभावना है क्या सर? कुछ संभावना आपको लग रही है?
हम तो शुरू से न बोल रहे हैं, आपको बोलिए। हम तो आपको 7-8 महीना पहले से न कह रहे हैं कि लोग पहले भी करा सकते हैं, इसलिए सबको एकजुट होना चाहिए, तो उसी में हम लगे हुए हैं।
আমার তো এখন সন্দেহ হচ্ছে এরা ডিসেম্বরেই না পার্লামেন্ট ইলেকশন করে দেয়, জানুয়ারিতেও করে দিতে পারে, এদের কোনো বিশ্বাস নেই।
All right, the apprehensions were very clear by the opposition parties, including the JDU and TMC, who said even in the past that they predict the Modi government to come up with a one nation, one election bill very soon. I have Preeti with me joining here on the election coverage that she's done so far. Preeti, we know that India is such a dynamic country and it's so diverse when it comes to elections. That's the real true testimony of how diverse the country is. To have it at one time, at one go, yes, it would save cost and energy, but what about the flavor of diversity in the country?
Well, you know, there are lots of arguments which are both pros and cons, but you know, Nabila, let's go back. 9 summers ago, you had the Prime Minister who actually mooted the idea of one nation, one election. We do know it's something very close to the Prime Minister's heart. Yeah. In terms of putting it down and making it happen, the probability of it looks too complex. But right now, this bill is introduced, even though, yes, they will need 2/3 majority, which they don't have right now, to get a constitutional amendment in place. But having said that, what could be the pros and cons of a possible early Lok Sabha election? You know, the Prime Minister would be shining off his G20 moment.
But I was just wondering, how is it really going to benefit the BJP, as the opposition might say?
Well, you know, at this point of time, the opposition really doesn't have its act together. What else do we know of India other than the name of India? Are they any which way closer to seat-sharing arrangements? No, they have no urgency. So the entire India alliance coming together right now is in complete disarray. So yes, it will suit the government very well to hold early elections because your opposition, which is now technically together, still doesn't have its act together. Yeah. Number two, it's going to be, you know, you have Prime Minister Modi shining off under the G20 moment. It's a good place to be in terms of to call early election. Also, what would be interesting is, will the government call for early elections when their big ticket moment, which is going to be the Ram Mandir moment in January, or, you know, the inauguration of it, will the Prime Minister Modi actually go ahead and prepone elections and not do it after the Ram Mandir opening, because that's their big ticket moment? That's the big question. And also something which the Prime Minister has said a lot, you know, that they've been given a certain time to be in power. Will he let go of, even one day in power and prepone elections? It's a different concept. But, there's even indication right now because, there's so much kite flying. Because this is all source-based information, which is coming to the fore, Nabila, that the 5 state elections, which we are expecting in December, could very well, if this bill goes through, be postponed to the general election time, and we look at a one nation, one election.
Precisely the buzz that we hear now is that the 5 state elections might be pushed to May.
No, we don't know any of that
This is the buzz, like I said, it's a speculation. It might be pushed to May all at once. The 5 states that are going to elections include Rajasthan, Telangana, Mizoram, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. Yeah, you have the 5 state elections that are all lined up late this year till early next year. It likely could be pushed all at once in May. But what are the challenges when you try and club elections together at once? It will cut cost, but the big challenge, or why do you think that the opposition parties might not be very happy with something like this?
Well, they've always been frozen.
But speaking of state level, I'm talking about assembly elections. Yes, Lok Sabha, the opposition, united opposition isn't prepared, but locally, if they have their clout, then that will remain. What will change?
That will remain. What will change? Other than that, the biggest, I would reckon, yes, it will save costs. And, India is always considered to be a country which is always in election mode, because every other month we are going to elections in a particular state in the country. So it will cut down not just cost, but labor. It will cut down in terms of the effort that you actually put in hugely. But on the other hand, the flip side of that, Nabila, is also, will it somewhere down the line, not be the true test of democracy? The sheer fact that we've had so many elections as they've happened. So that all aside, but will it happen? Right now, I would reckon a lot of it is political fear-mongering, and the sheer fact that through our sources, we've been given to understand that a bill could be introduced in the special joint session of the Parliament called from the 18th to the 22nd of September, has somewhere down the line heightened the fear of the opposition. The opposition says till now that they are ready to go into election any time. But are they really prepared? Not. How much of this is rhetoric? How much of this is a possibility? We don't quite know. A lot of it given to source-based information, or rather red herring, fear-mongering on what we are expecting.
Well, let me quickly cut across to Adhiranjan Choudhry, who said what he said just moments ago, that until he sees that the draft of that bill in hand, he won't be able to comment. But I'm going to cut across to exactly Adhiranjan Choudhry's reaction on this, the Congress MP.
See, first of all, before expressing our view, we have to go through the contents of the bill. Now, if the government thinks so that everything is to be passed in the parliament, they have had their own brute majority. So they can always play the tyranny of majority. Because each and every issue, they can get the legislation passed according to their own whims and fancy. But it is not a matter of a little significance. It's a matter of great significance, because India is a country which believes in plurality, which believes in diversity. So we cannot afford ourselves to be the centralization of all power in one go. We do not have the idea of what kind of contents the legislation is going to be proposed. So before scrutinizing the legislative document, I cannot make right at this moment any comment on it.
All right, we heard what the opposition Congress MP had to say, but this is huge. One nation, one election. If that bill is passed in the special session of the parliament, it would really mean that you have assembly elections and the Lok Sabha elections all happening at once in 2024, maybe even earlier than May 2024. Aishwarya is also joining us, who tracks the BJP. Aishwarya, what is the BJP really thinking? The opposition says Modi is wobbly on his knees. He's worried that the elections of 2024 might not be in their favor, which is why a move like this is made. But BJP has said it time and again, it's to save cost and save energy. save effort, deployment, all of it.
See, not just deployment, you know what the BJP time and again, Nabila, has been speaking about is the fact that a lot of money also goes, because it seems like our country, which is a fact also, our country is forever in the election mode.
Yeah.
So this is something that the BJP has been speaking about. If I tell you what the Election Commission is thinking, for the past 1.5 years, the Election Commission has been working towards it. So it's not something that the Commission does not know. They also believe that there is a lot of energy which will be saved, a lot of money which will be saved. And obviously the opposition at the moment is saying that this is being floated around because they believe that the Narendra Modi government is not ready for 2024 elections, but it will not be easy. You'll have to dissolve all the assemblies.
Yeah.
The Karnataka elections took place just a few months back. So will you dissolve?
It has
Yes.
to dissolve. You have to dissolve assemblies too.
Assembly elections, it's not that easy. It is not
Wow,
that
wow,
easy.
that's going to be a Herculean task. But Shiv, as the BJP says, they want to cut cost and they want to cut energy and that kind of deployment that goes into facilitating the number of state of elections. 5 state elections that are currently lined up, and here you have the Modi government mulling over passing a bill which they've managed to pass. Every bill that the Modi government has passed in the House have got its nod. They've successfully managed to pass it. This bill, One Nation, One Election bill passed, will be huge for the country.
You know, this news break by Himanshu sounds extremely credible, and Himanshu is one of our best reporters, Nabila. The reasons for One Nation, One bill are the most obvious things, cost, security, the convenience, and no wastage in terms of the country's resources in election after election. As Aishwarya said, we're constantly in election mode. But like most things in India, with such a vast country that this republic is, how do you get it started? We've got so many states. What will be that starting point? Which assemblies have to be dissolved? Will the opposition states, be on board just like the BJP-ruled states will? What about the issue of autonomy? What about states that are controlled by the opposition, which will say that if all elections happen at the same time, the party in the center will have the advantage?
Yeah.
All these teething troubles are not going to be small. So this is like so many other issues. This actually reminds me of UCC also.
Absolutely.
This is going to be, the reasons, the rationale is obvious. Everyone believes that it's a good thing to do and it's the right thing to do, but it's the enforcement, implementation, modalities, layers of it that's going to be the real challenge. So we're going to have to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Will it be the real debate in that special session, or will it be Adani? We don't know.
No, but this is a 5-day special parliamentary session that has been that has been announced. Now, tell us, what was the purpose of this special parliamentary meeting to happen in the first
Nabila,
place?
let me tell you, this actually is $1 million question, because there are a lot of things which are floating around. We don't know for sure what exactly is the session, but we do know. Himanshu has broken the story that one of the things that the government has been looking at, and it is not something that the government has been thinking for just the past 6 months. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, since 2014, has time and again been speaking about the fact that we as a country need to save our resources. A lot of time, a lot of money, and constantly being in the election mode is something which is not right for the country and also for the people. This is something that the BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, has been pushing for. Some of the opposition parties also believe that this is how it should be. The Election Commission.
Would you tell us which are the opposition parties that are on board with this idea?
Not fully on board, but they do believe, if we talk about Congress Party, if we talk about Aam Aadmi Party, then yes, they do believe that saving the cost, saving the time of the ministers, saving the time of the people is something which will help in the long run.
So you're saying AAP and Congress are okay with a one nation, one election?
There have been some talks about it. Right. They think that there is a possibility, but yes, not the way the BJP is now wanting to do it. Maybe just because you'll have to make constitutional changes, Nabila. It's not something which will just happen.
Yeah.
In a jiffy, you'll have to dissolve all the assemblies. So Karnataka, what will you do? The elections were just a few months back.
Well, that's going to be really a big task at hand. But Shiv, as we see, I just heard Rajdeep say that the one reason that he could think of, the BJP will be presenting a bill of such nature, one nation, one election, is to ensure that the India bloc, the alliance partners, don't have enough time to chart out a roadmap and a strategy to fight the Modi government.
When it comes to election time, it's war. Okay, all's fair as far as election strategy is concerned. We all know how ruthless and cutthroat things can be. And as Aishwarya said, you couldn't possibly ask for a bigger year to make such or propose such changes in 2023. 4 big state elections: Telangana, MP, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Mizoram, and then you've got the big one in 2024, just 4 or 5 months later. You club all those together, you'll have to do that with a sense of using a lot of force. How can you do it in such a short time? The journalist in me wonders whether something can be implemented so quickly. I don't think it will ever happen for the 2023 cycle of elections, but maybe thereafter. So what kind of pressure is this going to actually exert on these opposition parties or the India bloc? One doesn't actually know. What it does is put the pressure on them, gives them a sense that this is what the government wants to do, this is the direction the government is moving in, and therefore they need to get their act together and start moving fast.
You know, but I really wonder about public sentiment. When we speak of public sentiment, as a commoner, a common citizen, I would imagine that this is a fantastic idea. You go to a polling booth and you press one button for your election, for your Lok Sabha election, you press one button for your assembly election. You're done at one go, right? So as much as it sounds like a great idea, I would still wonder what happens to the beautiful diversity and its colors of our country.
I think for a country like India, which has a lot to achieve, Nabila, I think the rationale is, given the amount of money, everyone, all of us, journalists know, many people in public life know, but not many citizens know just how expensive an election is. Aishwarya covers the election commission. She's seen those reports that come in. It is thousands of crores of rupees, party funds, but also public money that is expended in a country that is constantly in election mode. And in this current political atmosphere, where it is do or die for every single party, every election is like basically a battle of its own. And therefore, like, I completely agree with you. In the public eye, it's going to be something that, when people hear about it, they're going to say, why aren't we doing it already? It makes such obvious sense. But it's once you go down into the devil and the details, that's when implementation is the real bugbear.
Absolutely. Stay with me, Shiv. I'm going to quickly cut across to Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena, who's responded, and with great frustration and anger that she believes this is a ploy by the Modi government, and also that they are threatened with the clout the India bloc is gaining.
वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की तो बगैर हम राय मशवरा कर बगैर सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स से पूछकर, बगैर इलेक्शन कमीशन की रिपोर्ट लेकर, बगैर उनसे ये पूछकर कि ये पॉसिबल है या नहीं पॉसिबल है, बगैर वो सिक्योरिटी सर्विसेज से पूछकर के इतना हम कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे एट द सेम टाइम, बगैर उन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से पूछकर कि क्या वो सहमत है या नहीं सहमत है, बगैर चीफ मिनिस्टर्स को साथ में लेकर अगर वो ये निर्णय लेते हैं हम उसका विरोध करेंगे। तिलमिलाई हुई, घबराई हुई एंड लास्ट स्टेजेस ऑफ पावर में अपना पावर दिखाने की कोशिश करें, हम उसका विरोध करेंगे।
All right, we heard the opposition parties. At least a few of them have responded. A lot more who are still confused, waiting for an official word on this. But our reporter Himanshu has given us this very important news break that one nation, one election bill is likely to be tabled by the Modi government in the upcoming special parliamentary session. One nation, one election. Sources tell us that the Modi government is likely to table this bill in the special session of the parliament in the coming week. Let's cut across to all the reactions coming in on one nation, one election.
वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की तो बगैर हम राय मशवरा कर बगैर सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स से पूछकर, बगैर इलेक्शन कमीशन की रिपोर्ट लेकर, बगैर उनसे ये पूछकर कि ये पॉसिबल है या नहीं पॉसिबल है, बगैर वो सिक्योरिटी सर्विसेज से पूछकर के इतना हम कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे एट द सेम टाइम, बगैर उन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से पूछकर कि क्या वो सहमत है या नहीं सहमत है, बगैर चीफ मिनिस्टर्स को साथ में लेकर अगर वो ये निर्णय लेते हैं हम उसका विरोध करेंगे। तिलमिलाई हुई, घबराई हुई एंड लास्ट स्टेजेस ऑफ पावर में अपना पावर दिखाने की कोशिश करें, हम उसका विरोध करेंगे।
All right, we heard the opposition parties aren't very happy, but this is, of course, speculation that this is likely to happen. Our strong sources tell us that this bill will be tabled next week or the week after in the parliament. Let's see what happens. We're going to continue tracking all those developments. Do stay tuned to India Today.